Hello once again, it's Matthew here from Matthew North Music. Thank you for watching my latest video. And as ever, if you do enjoy these kind of videos that I make, be them about music, electronics or whatever, please think about hitting the subscribe button because it really does help the channel. And if you like this video, give us a like. And if you want to hit the little bell icon as well, then you'll always be notified whenever there's a new video. Anyway, today is a kind of a reaction video, I suppose, to the news that Roger Waters is making a new version of Dark Side of the Moon. Now, this isn't new. It's been talked about for probably the best part of the last 6 months. Now, Dark Side of the Moon is what it is. It's one of the most famous, iconic, classic rock / prog rock albums ever made. And I don't know how many times I've listened to this LP, probably, I don't know, hundreds. And here's the thing, this is one of those records that I know so well, it is so inside my DNA, I kind of feel I never need to listen to it again. And the last time I probably sat down and listened to this album is probably 10 years ago or more. But that's not to say I haven't listened to the music, because I do listen to the Dark Side of the Moon music, but I generally listen to it on bootlegs because I like hearing live versions, I like hearing differences, I like hearing alternate bits of it. And certainly the official live version that's been released recently, which was part of the Immersion box set, which I talked about in my other Dark Side of the Moon video a few months back. If you haven't seen it, go and take a look at it. It turned out to be one of my most popular videos on this channel. But yeah, I like listening to live versions of it. I like listening to the really early live versions of it, where you've got things like the travel sequence and stuff and the mortality sequence, and you know, it's different. And I like listening to the versions they did in 74, 75, because again, it was a little bit different, a little bit more polished. But you know, they're all good. I love listening to Floyd bootlegs, and I particularly like listening to various versions of Dark Side of the Moon. In fact, the Hollywood Bowl 1972, that's a good bootleg to listen to if you want to just listen to an early version. Anyway, so this album, Roger Waters has re-recorded. Now, you could kind of see that coming, and you could see that coming because of this. This was Roger's Lockdown Sessions album. Incidentally, it's a great record. If you haven't heard this, it is a good album. You can stream it. But I wasn't going to do a review of this album. But from the copy that I own, I would rather have the CD than the LP. The pressing quality of this album is not great. It is a bit noisy. It is a bit clicky. I haven't washed the album, you know, multiple times like you should do with LPs that come in plain inner sleeves. But yeah, it's not the best sounding LP, but the music's great, and if you listen to it off CD, it's fantastic. But you know, Roger completely remade Comfortably Numb. He did it in a completely different style, and if you listen to that, you can kind of think, well, I wonder if he's going to do this with anything else, and that's what he's kind of done with Dark Side of the Moon. Now, I was a bit apprehensive about Roger's last tour. In fact, I didn't go to it. I was going to, but then I thought, I don't know, because I didn't really enjoy the Us and Them show that much when I went to it. I kind of didn't like the drummer, and I don't know, it was just like, compared to The Wall, it kind of didn't feel as good. But then I went to see the Prague broadcast, and boy, oh boy, how I wish I'd gone this time, because the show was immense. I really did enjoy seeing that in the cinema. Even though the sound mix wasn't great, the performance was brilliant. And the kind of old man Roger Waters that he has become in the last couple of years, I kind of really like. I like the fact he doesn't sing the songs as he sang them 40, 50 years ago. I like the fact he's added bits to it. And he's almost kind of, you know, become this sort of, it's a bad cliche, but he's almost become like, it's Roger Waters, the Johnny Cash he is. And, but there's something I really like about it now, whether it's because I've always found a kindred spirit in Roger Waters because we were both born on the 6th of September, and I kind of see that as a bit of a link, I don't know. But anyway, he's done this new version of Dark Side of the Moon, And as soon as he announced it, the internet went completely nuts, you know, wars on the internet about this. And then there was all the stuff kicking off with, you know, David and Polly and Twitter and, you know, and all this sort of stuff. But then Roger's done this little trailer that's on his Facebook page, and I can't remember the exact wording he says, but he sort of goes, "Oh my God, he's only gone and done it." You know, so he's obviously, you know, taking the mick out of some of the publicity he's had. But he's put up a version of Money, and it's really rather good. It's not the same song. Well, it's the same song, but it's not. It's very minimalist. It's got some great keyboard sounds in it that I wish were a little bit louder in the mix, I have to say, from listening to it. But yeah, it's really interesting. And then there's a load of spoken parts on it. And that's, you know, people forget Roger Waters is deadly, deadly serious, but he's also very, very funny. And he does both on this version of Money. And so I kind of think, I got a feeling I'm more likely to listen to this new version of Dark Side of the Moon than I am returning back to listen to this LP, because it's different, and I like different. I like different. You can't always get it right, and there's probably bound to be bits on it that I might think, I'm not so sure about that. But you know, why not? Why not have a go at doing something completely differently? I mean, this is what jazz musicians do. I mean, as many of you know, I've spent the last 10 years playing guitar with Mike Westbrook. Now, Mike Westbrook is the last great British jazz composer. He's 87 years old, but he's always working. He's always writing. And every time he does a piece, that is just where that piece is on that day. And we could rehearse that piece. The next rehearsal, there's new parts, he's changed it. Next rehearsal again, there's new parts, he's changed it. We go on tour, and we went to Italy. We did the first show. The second show, there were bits of paper going to the trumpet section. Mike had changed a section of a piece. And that's what composers do. They change bits, they tweak bits, they refine bits. Things never ever stay the same. And that's exactly what Roger Waters has done. He's thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to tear it all up, and I'm going to start again, and I'm going to do something different. And, you know, it's not like Roger hasn't done the Dark Side of the Moon faithfully in the past. Because in 2006, 2008, he did a Dark Side of the Moon tour. I saw that show in Hyde Park. I saw that show in Earl's Court, and I saw it twice at the O2. And they were all fabulous performances. I think the Hyde Park was my favourite because it was the first one I went to, and it was outside, open air. You had a 3D sound and whatever, and it was brilliant. It was a great show. Now, I never saw the Pink Floyd version of it in '94, the Gilmore Floyd. And that's because I didn't want to see them back then, because they just brought out the Division Bell, which I thought was a terrible record. I never liked it. I still don't really like it, especially compared to Momentary Lapse of Reason, which I thought was a brilliant record, and I still think it's a brilliant record. I'm in the minority, I don't care. But, you know, Gilmore has done it live. He has released it live. The album is called Pulse. You can listen to it everywhere. Everyone watching this video has probably got it. Roger Waters hasn't released his live version. It was rumoured at the time he was going to. Certainly some of the shows were filmed. Probably the best video is the Rock in Rio in Lisbon, but they only filmed the first half, not the second half, so you didn't get Dark Side of the Moon on that one. But there's a couple of DVDs floating around. There's one from South America where you hear the click track of the in-ear monitor mix with the visuals, but you know, that's a pretty good way of watching it, and you can find that anywhere on the internet. But Roger Waters has never released his version of Dark Side of the Moon, or any version of it. There's a few live tracks that were on the In the Flesh album, but that was it. So he's having a go. And I kind of think 50 years after the original, well, why not? I do not see any reason why Roger Waters cannot do this. I couldn't see any reason why Nick Mason's Swords of the Secrets couldn't do it if they wanted to. It's an album. I mean, the Easy Star All Stars have done a dub reggae cover of it, which is great for the first 2 songs, and then it gets very, very boring after that. But you know, Roger's doing his version, and it's not a Parrot Fashion cover version. And I think this is what has kind of upset a lot of the you know, the sort of Muso fans online, the sort of keyboard warriors, is that they want everything to be the same. They want to go, they're the sort of people, they'll go and watch a live gig and they want that live gig to sound like the record, and if it doesn't sound like the record, then it's a poor concert. And to me, that's just complete rubbish. You know, you go to see a band perform a set of songs and you go to see them do it in the way that they want to perform it, because they are artists, they are musicians. You know, you're not going to get a painter who paints a picture to then paint the same picture 100 times. You just don't do that. And it's the same when you perform a song. You don't do it the same way twice. If you do, then it gets boring. So I'm very optimistic about this Roger Waters album. I have pre-ordered it, and as soon as it turns up, I should probably do an unboxing video on it and probably give my opinion for what it's worth on what the album's going to be like. I've noticed that the vinyl edition is on 2 discs. Now, the original album it's about 50 minutes long, so you're kind of pushing the limits of how much you can get onto an LP. I think once you get above 40 minutes, you know, in the mastering, you have to bring the levels down and stuff, and it doesn't always sound quite so good. But this is going to be a 2 record set. Now, whether there's going to be any extra material on there, you know, people are talking about this new piece that Roger's written called The Bar, which he performed 2 bits of at the show in Prague that was televised and on all of the tour. And that could possibly make up one side, so you'd have Dark Side of the Moon over 3 sides, which I think is how it was done on the Pulse 4 LP box set. I can't remember. Off the top of my head, I should go and get it out of the cupboard, but I can't be bothered. Anyway, so, you know, The Bar might be a section of this album, and if it is, it probably will fit with the narrative of the rest of the album. But then again, Roger might have this bar thing, and that might then become an actual album in its own right. So we've got no idea what's going to be on the album, other than it's going to be a 2-disc set. But then it might be a 2-disc set where each side is 15 minutes long. Anyway, hope you found this video interesting. I mean, it's just me giving my opinion really on this album. And, you know, love to see your comments, so please put the comments below. And I'm going to go in the shed now and do some more electronics, and there'll probably be some more electronic videos coming soon, as well as me talking about music and anything else that comes along. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.